You're watching teleSUR English. I'm Katrina Goss. We're now going to go live to Mexico, where representatives of the delegations of the Venezuelan government and opposition sectors are expected to offer statements following the conclusion of the latest round of talks.
To sum up, the result of the continuous work of all these hours of talks, trying to seek a common ground, I could only tell you, as a sum up, that we did it again in Mexico. The Venezuelan people, women and men, the representatives of the political sectors, of the opposition sectors, and the government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, presided over President Nicolás Maduro. We did it again. Despite the strong differences that we have and that we will continue having in the future, so beyond the obstacles, difficulties, all the problems that were not related to the political life of Venezuela, all the aggressions that our people has lived in the last years. And here we have the result of agreements of these talks between the sectors of the Venezuelan opposition and the government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. There is a lot to do. There is a lot of work to do. We still have many issues to discuss. But today, we have proven in these 4 days of hard work that we can say everything, that we can be firm in our positions, that we can establish without any doubt what's our position and what's the position of the people of Venezuela, but also to understand, as we have all understood, that it's all the Venezuelan motherland. If you vote the candidates of the Bolivarian Revolution, if you vote the candidates of the Venezuelan opposition, or if you do not have a fixed political vision, the results of these talks will be in the benefit of all the Venezuelans. We did it again. Here in Mexico, you know that one of the clauses in the Memorandum of Understanding signed on August 13th, on Friday, here in Mexico. So, we were talking about the to sign partial agreements. So, something positive here, and that makes faster the possibility of reaching agreements, is that it is in the Memorandum of Understanding that all these partial agreements can be signed. So, and today, we can announce to Venezuela 2 partial agreements that we want to share with you. The first one is the one about the ratification and the defense of the Venezuelan sovereignty over the Essequibo. So it is statement for the support, for the respect of the history of the right of our homeland. Since we were a general captain to the territory of Essequibo, and the Geneva Agreement of 1996, the only instrument the Venezuelans recognize to solve all the problems of the borders between Venezuela and Guyana. So all the members of the delegation signed this agreement of the right of Venezuela to the territory of the Essequibo. And it is all supported by the Geneva Agreement of 1966 and the pretensions of Guyana to start a problem that can only be solved under the Geneva Agreement. So here it is signed by me, Jorge Rodríguez, and there are all signs of the members of the delegation of the government of Venezuela and of the representatives of the opposition. Also, please help me here. We have also signed an agreement, a partial agreement. One of the issues we have discussed is something that's contemplated in the agenda of the Memorandum of Understanding, and it is about the protection of the economy of Venezuela and also the protection of the people of Venezuela. So we reached a partial agreement for the social protection of the people of Venezuela. The government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela and then we'll sign the agreement that it is about the need of Venezuela to recover the assets, the money, which is in foreign accounts, and they all belong to every woman and man of Venezuela. That money needs to be used, and mainly to be used, whether it comes from the Venezuelan accounts in other countries, whether it is money recovered by Venezuela to use resources that Venezuela has all the rights, and it will be used for the economic recovery after the pandemic. So all those resources will be allocated to all those who need to be attended by COVID-19, to buy vaccines, although we have the capability of having 70% of the vaccines Venezuela needs, to strengthen the food programs of Venezuela, to take care of the Venezuela people, using the resources that belong to the Venezuela people. So you will know in the next minutes. The Norway representatives will present all the agreements we signed here, the two agreements we signed here, and this partial agreement has also been signed by Jorge Rodríguez Gómez, head of the delegation of the government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, and Gerardo Blight, the head of the delegation of the Unity Platform of Venezuela, and the signature of all the members of the delegation. So it is important that we have signed two agreements of this importance to ratify our right of the Essequibo Guyana, and an agreement to address all the needs of the Venezuela people and the needs of this period of pandemic and after the pandemic, with resources that belong to us, resources that we have to recover, and we can also use the funds of multilateral organizations that Venezuela can use. So thank you very much to all the representatives of the government of Norway. Thank you very much for your presence here, which was an active presence. So they were there in the meetings of the working groups, in the bilateral meetings with heads of delegations, in the meetings between groups to reach agreements, to the representatives of the Netherlands and the representatives of the Russian Federation. Thank you very much. Also, thank you very much for the government of these beautiful people, the government of Mexico, President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, the Foreign Ministry, Marcelo Ebrard, because they have facilitated us to work here and to advance in the conversation. So I will answer some questions. So we had a brief interchange several minutes ago because we heard the situation several minutes ago, and the position of the Bolivarian government. Monómero is an industry that belongs to the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Any position, any initiative taken by the Duque government has to be presented as a flagrant robbery, and in these months we will present other elements of violations to the international laws. So, talking about these scenarios, do you talk about coming back to Mexico to have more meetings? Yes, of course. We will be here on Friday 24th, Saturday 25th, Sunday 26th, and Monday 27th. We'll be here again in Mexico to discuss the other issues that will be presented by Norway. So we are working in the topics we announced to social attention to the people of Venezuela and the mechanisms that should be used, and the expression of the respect of all the inhabitants of Venezuela regarding the rights of Venezuela, of the Essequiba Guyana. So we are thinking about using new mechanisms and in different mechanisms to recover all those resources. We do not need anyone to donate anything to us, so we have enough resources that belong to all the people of Venezuela, and there are more than enough to strengthen the economy of Venezuela, to take care of the population after the pandemic, to finish the vaccination program. So we already have vaccine. We only need a small amount to vaccinate all the people, to finance the food programs. We do not need to ask for money. We have the resources, and those resources belong to Venezuela and have been illegally subtracted under the figure of overcompliance, which is something from the point of view of the Venezuelan government, it is illegal. You will read the agreement, and in that agreement there are some elements related to the question you just asked. So I should say that despite it was hard, it was difficult, as in any democracy, and it was a firm expression of what we all thought, So we did it in a cordial climate, and we worked together, because what we did in the working tables that were organized during all these 4 days, everything was to reach these 2 agreements that would benefit the Venezuelan people. So we will be working in the next points with which is related to the constitutional state of right, and we will talk even more about the economy, the protection of the economy of Venezuela, and the social attention of the people of Venezuela. Thank you very much.
We've been watching live statements from Mexico, where representatives of the delegations of the Venezuelan government and opposition sectors reported on the progress made and the agreements reached following the conclusion of the latest round of talks. The head of the Venezuelan government delegation, Jorge Rodríguez, described the talks as successful in the benefit of the Venezuelan people. He noted that there remains much to do and many differences, but that this process is possible and can achieve its goals. He announced 2 partial agreements reached in this round of talks, and he confirmed that they will continue at the end of the month. We will, of course, continue to provide you with all the latest regarding this crucial process for Venezuela's political stability. For teleSUR English, I'm Katrina Goss. Thank you for watching.